We're back here on the social roundup with Sala, and we have. You're supposed. Hi, can you hear
Yay!
me? Sorry, a bit of technological issues today. Having this problem, like it's a new beginning for me. I'm still figuring things out, and I hope everyone's patient
Don't
with
worry, don't worry, it's alright.
me. So, Andrea, how have you been?
Oh, actually, this morning was like one of the best mornings I have all this week, so I'm completely good. How are you?
Wow, okay. I'm actually having a good morning too. I mean, it's my first time, so it's like, fresh beginnings, the
Oh, yeah,
excitement, the
yeah.
adrenaline rush. So tell us, what makes today a special morning for you?
Um, to be honest, I woke up quite late because I always woke up at 5 a.m. and today I woke up at 8. So I didn't have enough time to get
5
ready.
a.m. Oh my God. Okay, so you usually wake up at 5 a.m. That's like a
Yeah.
lot. Like, wow. Okay. And then you woke up at 8 a.m. today? Oh my God. Okay. So it's like 3 hours ahead. Three. Is my
I
calculation
know.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I'm really bad with math. But so were you having but how does it make it a better morning if you woke up late than usual?
Uh, I don't know. Like I just say, okay, I can do. So it's just a challenge because
Uh-huh.
I never wake up at 8. Like that's so late for me. So I don't
Yeah.
know. What about you?
Usually, like, I'm someone who sleeps at 5. But
Oh
yeah, I'm
my
I'm one of
god.
those people. I'm one of those people that sleep at 5 a.m. But then because like now I, need to like wake up anyways because I have to come early in the morning. So because of that, I'm sort of getting used to waking up at 8 a.m., which I think is like fine. 8 a.m. is like
Yeah, it's
fine, right?
completely fine. I'm the only crazy that wake up at 5 a.m. So don't worry.
That's okay. I mean, that doesn't make you crazy. I think like people usually need to like start early, like wake up early in the morning, start their day fresh, but like I don't know, my mother said that she gave birth to me at 5 a.m. in the morning, but
Oh
for
my
some
god.
reason I cannot wake up at that time. Like my stomach starts hurting at that time, and I'm like, well, you're telling me that I came out at that time to this world, but like,
Wow.
why can't I wake up every morning at that time?
I know, I know. Like why is not that linked? Oh my god.
Exactly. Like, because I mean, it will make sense if my mother, like, woke up, maybe like if she gave birth to me at around like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., possibility that I would have, showed up
Yeah.
at that time in this world. But yeah, it's like really messed up. But also at the same time, like I was born in Japan, so probably like Japan's timing is different.
In
So probably because of,
Japan.
yeah, yeah, I was born in
That's
Japan. So
amazing.
yeah, so maybe the time difference, maybe like my body
Yeah.
knew, like as a kid it knew, like this is not the time setting you're supposed this is not the place that you're supposed to be at. You're supposed to be awake in the other part of the world at this time.
I know,
This is
I
very
know.
different. Yeah. So actually, Andrea, like with all of this, I think we today have an interesting topic to discuss, to talk about, and I think like we're going to bring up some interesting perspectives on it as well, right? Do you want to tell us what we're going to be discussing today about?
Of course, we are gonna discuss about different things that like I never talk about. It's like stealing and thief, all that stuff, because I think that is quite common in nowadays.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Also, we are gonna talk about how is coronavirus like for the students. How was that their experience? How did they take like all these things to changing like without taking like that time to get used to do things at home instead of just going to
Yeah.
school and all that stuff, preparing to get ready.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's going to be interesting because that's something that, it's very uncommon to talk about, stealing and theft, and like it's
Yeah.
it's not something that's common. But again, with stealing, there are different things that we can talk about stealing. Because I mean, one thing is that you can steal money, you can steal things from, the grocery stores, or, from the banks, from, shopping malls that you go to. But at the same time, you can also be stealing someone's heart. Mhm.
Oh my god, I didn't know about that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Exactly. So, do you have any experience, Andrea?
Hmm. No, to be
Ooh.
honest, I never been.
Yeah.
I never been stolen. Like I don't
Uh-huh.
know if how will be my reaction because I always like take care when I go out and when I
Okay.
go back home. So I don't know how I'm gonna react. Maybe I'm gonna cry or I don't know, run.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, because it's unexpected when someone steals something from you. Like you don't know what to do at that
Yeah.
moment, right? You're just
Yeah.
like in shock, and you're like, "What do I do now? Like, do I do something about it? Do I fix it?" And it's like impulse reaction. You just freeze sometimes. Your fight and flight. Have you heard of the fight and flight thing about how a body reacts? So apparently, if
Yeah.
we're put in situations like that, right? We either fight or we run away from that situation, but some of us just freeze. It should be fight or flight or
Yeah.
freeze,
That
because we're
was
just like,
me lying down in the sea, like, oh my god, no. I can't imagine myself, to be honest. But have you ever been
exactly.
stolen or something like
Uh,
that?
I mean, I don't remember like someone stealing anything from me, but I had this experience once though. Like my mom, right? So we went to the passport office, and my mother had her bag, and her bag was like really open, right? It's this huge bag, and there was no zip
Oh
in it.
my
I don't know
god.
why there was no. I don't understand handbags that don't have zips in it, and it's like you can't even close it with those things that sort of like go like that,
Yeah.
magnets.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
understand the purpose of it because it's a handbag. It's supposed to have the cash, cards, and things like that. That are supposed to be protected. And like with my mother's bag, it didn't have any of that. And there was this purse, right, with money that she just kept on top, right? I'm walking behind my mother, like I'm my mother's bodyguard, right? So behind her, and like there's this guy, right? He's following us, and he comes, and like right at the time the elevator opens, he decides to put his hand into the bag to take it, right? The purse, right? And like we discussed, the freezing moment, I was frozen, right? And usually I'm
yeah.
someone to like fight back, and a little bit of a badass. So I was just wondering, like, what do I do now, right? And he takes the purse, and I'm like, uh I just looked at him, and I was like, why are you taking it?
Oh my god, yeah, I think I will be the same reaction as you because, like, you don't expect it, like, "Okay, someone's gonna steal me in
Yeah.
5 minutes, so I don't know what to do." Like, "What?"
Exactly. So I was like, why are you taking it? And I mean, I ideally I would like, push him off or something, but I didn't do that. I was just having normal conversation with him. Like, like let's have a chat. Let's take some tea.
Eh,
Tell me, why are you stealing? you know?
no? Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
good one to hear, to say, good experience. I hope that that's
Yeah.
not gonna happen to you, like, now, because no.
Now maybe things would be different right now because like but anyways, like he ran away, he got scared and he ran away, right? Which is like, I mean, a big deal because at the end of the day I didn't want him to be stealing my mother's purse, right?
Of
And
course.
yeah, and then like I remember, well, after that my mother turns and she's like, oh no, someone's stealing. I was like, obviously your bag is open, like what were you expecting? you know
Oh, so you didn't tell that to your mom?
no, I was telling that to him. I was like, why? So it's funny because I was asking the guy who was stealing, why are you stealing?
Oh my god, I can't believe that.
Exactly. And it's like, why are you stealing? And he like freaked out. He looked at me like, oh no, she's making conversation with me, and he just ran.
I think that you had a pretty good reaction because on the other voice, like, oh, kids will be like crying or I don't know, doing something like you. They're like, why are you stealing? Why? So that's quite
I
funny.
think the police within me was like, like you need to talk to people, you need to communicate, tell them why it's bad to steal. I mean, what are we doing right now discussing about this? And I'm telling how much of a bad thing it is to steal, right? So I think this is what I was destined to do ultimately since childhood.
Oh my
So
god.
but like honestly asking, have you ever been tempted to steal something?
No, because my mom always told me, "Don't steal. Something bad is gonna happen to you, like karma." So
Oh,
I said, "I don't
yeah.
want something bad for me." So I never tried. Maybe I did like just like a bottle of water, someone like that's new.
Mm.
But
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
because I was hungry or like thirsty. But then like
Yeah.
I think I will get so scared of that.
Exactly. I mean, I think that is very true. We are constantly, actually, why do people steal? I think one of the reasons we steal is because we are in a need. We are in a situation where we want
Yeah,
something, right? And like for the most part, when stealing on a large scale, if you think about it, it's because we need something and we're not able to have that, right? And that is, I mean, that makes it very obvious from the situation that you pointed out, how when you want water, you would steal, right? And it's unfortunate that we the punishment that we give to stealing is it's not prison. Like that's not
yeah.
a way to fix people. What do you think should be done when someone is stealing? Like how do we fix that?
Uh, like I don't know how people will think about that, but I think
Mhm.
that some people, instead of thinking about that become a addiction. Like if they take
Yeah.
they just like saying, okay, I need it, but they like inside them they know that I don't need it. Like it's just another thing that they get used to do that. So maybe it's like a
Exactly.
common thing for them.
Yeah, yeah, that is very true. And when it becomes an addiction, it's really hard to like stop that as well. And we always need to make sure we have tendencies, we have cravings. Sometimes we get tempted to do things. But when we're tempted, we always need to try to find our way back to the situation, try to get rid of the addiction and things like that as well. So I think like, overall it's something that needs to be thought about. And we'll also talk about, how there's psychology behind stealing. There are some interesting things we're going to be discussing right after this break. So stay tuned with us, and we will be having an interesting conversation right here on the Social Roundup with Sala and
Andrea.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and then during a day, you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods, they're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK. We've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? Because in a public company where the stock is traded openly on the stock exchange, the value of that stock is driven by supply and demand, it's driven by emotion, it's driven by news, it's driven by quite a lot of variables over and above the actual accounting or total net worth of that company. I mean, we've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? And the company may still have value, it may still be doing quite a good things.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh, so that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're riding? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts mainly because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's very important, right? Because you want cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh, so that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
back here on the social roundup, and we're here with Sala and
Andrea.
Andrea. Could you remind our audience about how they can engage with Relaxed Radio?
Of course, we would like to talk and hear about you guys by our social media, that is TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And also, don't forget to download the app. There you can watch different shows that we have during the day, and also try to contact us.
Yeah, and I think like we need to keep in mind that Relaxed Radio is always looking to converse with you. We're trying to have a chill conversation, like Andrea and I are just having right now. We're talking about our experiences with stealing, how we feel about it, whether someone has attempted to do that with us as well. So just join us on this conversation and let's keep talking and let's try to figure out what are the different things that you want to talk to us about and keep that conversation going, right? So Andrea, we were talking about stealing, and we spoke about the materialistic, like with money, with actually stealing from shops and whatnot. What about feelings? What about things like heartbreak? Like
Oh,
what do you think about that? Is that stealing? Does that count as stealing?
to be honest, I never thought about that, so that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Like, still in a heart, maybe like, mm, yeah, it kind of feels like that, to be honest, because you
Yeah,
feel like empty when someone just leave you like with the love that you gave them, like you have, and then like you feel empty. What do you think
exactly.
about that?
No, to be honest, like I've always thought about love, right? And you know how we say falling in love? Like we don't say, I have heard this speech about how we don't say we're in love or we love. We say we're falling in love. Like it's a negative thing. Like, falling is actually painful, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also like stealing your heart, like stealing is something that is wrong, that is a crime. So why are we associating love or something that's so amazing for ourselves, what something that we enjoy? Why are we associating with stealing and, falling? Like it doesn't that make you question everything about love?
Like to be honest, my love life is like, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know about that, like,
No, but
because
yeah.
like I think that those terms is quite like normal to use in nowadays, but I think that before they get used to say different things, because now stealing we take like as something bad. So I don't know what to think about that.
That is true. I mean, like, to be honest, like, we don't need to have a love life. We think that, love is only from a relationship, which is like really messed up.
Yeah.
Don't you agree? Like, we need to learn to do self love. We need to learn to, receive that love from family, from friends. But here we are, always looking for it from a romantic partner, right? Which is quite messed up. And the fact that we are using words like falling and stealing, and it just makes it look like relationships or romantic relationships are something negative to be in, right? And I personally feel like that shouldn't be the case, but regardless, like you mentioned, Andrea, I agree that when we fall in love with someone and they decide to suddenly leave, it is painful. It is like they've taken something out of us. They've ripped something, taken our heart and like crushed it and broken it into a million pieces and dramatically throw it around and just walked off, and that's really hard for anyone, right? And I think that too counts as stealing, in my opinion. I mean, like, people could disagree, but I think that is stealing because they have stolen your time, they've stolen your energy, and money, like the money that you spend on
Yeah.
dates, gifts. Why do you think it is needed for someone to do that?
Yeah, I feel like still when you say that stealing your hair, I think that says everything that you said before, like money, time, and all that stuff. Because you are not taking just like that person; they're taking all about like around that person, which is their life.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
taking life of someone is not like that. We always say like we can hang out with friends, meet people, and different stuff, but we don't feel like as you're saying. So it's not like a feeling to stealing something. So
Exactly.
yeah, I agree with you in that point.
That is so true. I mean, the other thing is also like, if you were to steal someone's time like that, they don't know what to do once you're gone because you've spent so much time with them. Also, have you heard about the five love languages? It's just this like famous thing, it's basically this test that you can take online and learn about what your love languages are, right? And it's this like really famous concept, and they've got five love languages. One is physical touch, one is words of affirmation, quality time, gift giving, and I always forget the last one. I just blanked out. There's another one as well. So if you guys know what it is, you can comment as well, and we'd love to hear you talk about this as well. Engage in the conversation with us. But what do you think your love language is, Andrea?
I didn't hear about that, so I'm curious. I'm gonna
Curious.
Google that
You should
later on.
absolutely.
Yeah, I will do that. I don't know, like love slang,
Love languages.
love languages. I think
Yeah.
that will be like the little things that you do for someone, like either your
Oh.
family or things like that.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that comes to my mind. So I don't know.
So maybe so I just remembered what the last one is. It's called acts of service. So when someone cooks a meal for you, someone does your homework for you, someone does the laundry for you, you feel like really loved at times like that. So that's the other love language. And I think like depending on what your love language is, or depending on how you express love, when someone is someone leaves you, someone decides to break up with you, it feels like you lost something really big in your life in that aspect,
Yeah.
because now for me, my love language is like physical touch, right? So when someone hurts me, I'm like, why did I even let them come close to me? Why did I let them hug me? And like for people who it's like quality time, they're like, why did I waste all the time on them? And I think like,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So that is the psychology behind that. And it's kind of, to be honest, like really sad that, we feel that way. But again, I think we need to stop associating love with like falling or like, stealing, things like that are very negative, right? Don't you agree?
yeah, 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 I agree. Like, why do we should take like something that it's really nice, love for your work, for your parents, for
Yeah.
everything that you have, and taking like to stealing, because stealing is not something good, to be honest, because that can cause you problems,
Yeah.
um, things that you don't want to. So associating that with stealing of, I'm not sure. Like maybe we can find another word that it
Yeah.
sounds better.
Like I think we all like need to set up a meeting. Like one day we just all sit down, brainstorm, and think. You know what? We're going to rebrand love. We're going to sit and discuss. It's like the entire world have this meeting, and we all sit and say, what? We're going to rebrand love. Like, what should love be? Without stealing, without falling, what is it going to be, right? And
Yeah.
that I think is going to like help so much, because then we will also stop getting affected as much as we do when it doesn't work out for us. So that is there as well. But also, have you watched Money Heist?
I'm from Spain, so how can I not watch that? So
Ah,
I love it that I because
yes.
I found that like it's not something normal that we get used to watching like Cream and something like that.
Uh
But
huh.
it's like a different round because I never heard or listen or read any like story like that. So that was, I think,
Yeah.
that was the point that make that like a hit.
Exactly, exactly. And also, like, I have to say this, I absolutely love Spanish. Like, I've been trying to learn. All I know is excuse me if my pronunciation is wrong.
Oh, don't
Un
worry.
mesa para tres personas. So it's like one table for three. Yes, okay. I'm getting there. And I like that's exactly why I loved Money Heist as well, because of the language, because it sounds really like for me, I think Spanish is one of the best languages to express love. When you
Um,
say mi amor,
Amor.
yeah,
Corazón and all that stuff. Yeah, I
exactly,
think that people take
feeling.
like Spanish to a sexist language because
Really?
sounds like quite dramatic or something like that.
Okay. Uh
So
huh.
if you can learn, if you want to learn Spanish, I can teach you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Because if I wouldn't be able to speak Spanish, I don't know how to learn because I look at like the sentences and all that stuff. So it's too hard. So I'm so glad I learned that. I know that.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to learn Spanish because I think it's one of the best languages to express love in. Like the way you say "papi" or "mami" or that
Yeah.
that feeling of like being in a family and using those words. I call my mother like from the other side of the house. I'm like "madre," and then she's like, "Well, you haven't called me madre in so long. Like, do you hate me now?" So I think
Fair
like
enough.
exactly. So it's, I mean, I'm learning. I have a long way to go with Spanish, but I have this like I love Spanish music as well. Oh my god. Like when you're cooking, I have you do you know the song Calma? Am I pronouncing it right?
Calma. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Calma.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's a
Calma,
lovely
mi
song.
vida con
Yeah.
calma. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, when you're cooking and when you're just vibing by yourself, like that's like amazing music to listen to. I think Spanish music is a vibe. Like it's a different vibe. So I mean Money Heist is that's exactly why I got into Money Heist as well. And I think Money Heist is a show that discusses like not just, stealing money, but also like stealing feelings and wasting people's
Yeah.
time
I
with
think
all
that
the characters.
that show had two of those both concepts that you said, like
Yeah,
it's including money and love, because we
exactly.
can see like during all that series, all that episodes, like that they are getting feelings with each other and with people that
Yeah.
they are get used to. They need to steal, so it's quite different because I didn't expect that because it's like. It's supposed to be a crime series about
Yeah, exactly.
stealing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly what got me hooked as well because it had all these things that made it so like spiced up, and I love like like the fact that they would use cities as their names, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
so exciting. So did you? So what do you think about Money Heist? Like, do you think it's influential to society? Because a lot of people have different opinions on how media is with people, right? Some people feel like media is bad for people, and making shows like this, or putting out movies or TV series like this is actually influencing people to get into bad habits. Do you agree, or do you think like
Um, yeah, I understand you, and I think that we should not mix like television with real life. We are seeing like a dramatic maybe book that was writing about, and they to convert into television to into a program. So I think that we don't need to associate. I think about like an influence to that. Just
yeah,
watch and enjoy the show, and like seeing like how intelligent was the guy to create that like huge story in his mind to steal that bank. So
exactly.
at the same and also at the same time, I think that that influenced a lot to people to think that that's something easy, like for life to just steal in and live about that. So I don't know. What about you?
No, I mean, definitely, I agree. Like, we need to understand how to draw the lines between media and our life as well. And that is exactly what we need to be talking about, Andrea, right after this break, right? So, we will be back again with all of you, and let's see how we can actually separate media from our life, get the good, and leave the bad out of it. And we will be back here on the social roundup. This is Sala, and
Andrea.
And climb Mount Everest. That is one of my that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do. Hopefully,
Climb Everest. No.
Mount Everest. Okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest. Maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that would improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I've been doing this for quite some time. Hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I'll be doing it for about 10 minutes now. So, yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And yeah, on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of my that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do. Hopefully,
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest. Maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
One of the easiest ways to increase your net worth is to ensure that you have higher cash flows. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not buy things on hire purchase, not buy things over months and months because you can't afford them now, but you want it. It's kind of that delayed gratification. Rather than buy that couch, that car, that stereo, that computer, whatever item, and pay it off over 12, 24, 36 months at an interest rate, rather invest that money, make do with what you've got, and then after 12, 24, 36 months, take the money that you've now invested and buy that good. An asset could be anything that appreciates or reduces a tax bill. So it could still be a liability, but it reduces their tax bill. And I'm not going to go into the technicalities because that's out of our remit here. However, for our use or our purpose, what we are talking for the listeners here is I would put this definition of an asset forward. An asset is anything that increases your income. Anything.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? When you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true that the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if that, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
Back here on Relax Radio, the social roundup, and Andrea and I have been discussing about media and the influence it has on our lives, right? So, Andrea, what were we exactly talking about when it comes to media? Or what were we exactly discussing?
About media. We've been discussing about stealing our experience. That yours was like quite rare but interesting. Like that's something that I'm not sure that could happen to me. And one day that really good program that was a hit for everyone. And
Yeah.
about the influence about that people.
True. And I think when it comes to, especially with that show, I think we've learned a lot because I myself, I sat back after watching the show and I was thinking, Money Heist actually is something that teaches people to be smart, to be strategic, to be, focused and committed, and we tend to leave all of that out and we decide, you know what, let's just rob a bank. That's the only thing we take back home, right? And like, to be honest, there have been many situations in which people have said that, they were motivated to steal, they were motivated to commit crimes because it was cool, because when media shows it to you, you think it's cool, right? And I think like Money Heist, that was to some certain extent, that was that thing with Money Heist as well. Do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree because at some point, people that show make realize at people that they can do more if they start using more their brain, like start thinking in another way instead of just thinking like the average way that everyone thinks. So I think that that has a big influence on people because I think that no one before thought about stealing a bank with I don't know, 8 people with names with I don't know, like that's huge thing.
Exactly. And Andrea, do you want to remind people how they can join this conversation with us and tell us, what they think about Money Heist or stealing as well?
Of course, I would like to hear like what people thought if they watched Money Heist. You can tell us by our social media platforms, which are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, um, and also don't forget to download the app. I mean, why you don't use TikTok? We always post that, different stuff, and we would like to hear us. And I mean, if you want to do a video, don't forget to send us or tag us, and we can see that. And download the app that because we do different amazing shows with different people that we work with them, and I would love to people to hear those shows.
Exactly. And like, for them to engage in conversation with us, tell us what we need to be talking about. Tell us what we're missing out on, right? And on that note, like, we also want to sort of hear what you think about media, what you think should be done about people getting influenced by media. Because, the truth is, Andrea, like, as much as we get influenced by family and friends, we also really, really get influenced by social media and mass media, right? Like watching movies, watching, TikTok, or like, anything. Have you noticed that sometimes we catch on to habits like the sheesh from TikTok? Like, that's something everyone's doing right now, and that's how much of an influence like TikTok has, right? Every 5 seconds, if I'm embarrassed about something, I'm constantly doing the tuck, and then I'm like, everything that happens on TikTok, right? And if we're going to catch on to the little things that media portray to us, the little things, the little quirks, then how are we going to avoid, like, getting influenced when it comes to crimes, when it comes to, negative things, toxic things? Andrea, have you noticed that like media really, really like romanticizes toxic things? Like, toxic things are the trend.
Yeah, like being having toxic relationship, like why
Yes,
that's not good, like you don't want to be
exactly.
with your mental health in that point.
That is so true. Like, I kid you not. I was at this point, I was attracted to like toxic men. I was like, oh, the more the drugs you do, the fancier you are, or like, the more you ill treat me, the more I want to be with you. Which is like really messed up mentality. But that's what, like, have you noticed on TikTok, everyone is always showing off about how toxic they are, and
Oh,
why?
absolutely, absolutely. I just watched like yesterday a TikTok
Uh
about
huh.
a relationship like an American and an Italian guy, and oh my god, like why? Why do people need to post those things, toxic things, and they maybe you think
Exactly.
about okay, I need a boyfriend, he needs to be toxic, he needs to be Italian. It's like it's
Yeah.
fine. Like why social media try to push things to us to make that?
Exactly, exactly. And I think, like, even with 365 days, what's that
Oh
movie?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah, mafia situation. And even with that, I mean, it's about, how there's this mafia gang, and how everyone wants to be falling in love with that. Like, it's that essence of doing crime. Oh, you have the guts to do something, illegal. Like,
Yeah.
ooh, I'm attracted to you. And like, for me, walking out of that toxic lifestyle, and like, because I right now, I think I'm very much healthy to a huge extent, right? And walking from that toxic life to like a healthy life has been such a big change, and I've learned to love myself through all of that as well, which is like, which I'm really happy about. What do you think?
Yeah.
And also understanding that, you are someone who's really healthy. Waking up at 5 a.m. tells me a lot about you. So what are the tips you would give people to, like, maintain a healthy lifestyle?
I think that the music that you listen influence you a lot. Like if I wake up like 5 a.m. and start listening heartbroken music, I don't want to wake up. I just want to say, no, I want to stay in bed.
Yeah.
But if I put music that makes me dance or happy, like salsa or happy music, I just say, I
Yeah.
want to move. I need to move. So let's get ready to do all the things that you need to do in this day.
Exactly, like that is exactly why I listen to Spanish music, because I think it just keeps you moving and you get this energy and you're like, yeah, let's get it going, right? And to see, I mean, even that, the fact that media has so much influence on us, like music, the things that we watch, the people, the celebrities that we're exposed to. Because I think like I grew up watching Lily Singh. Have you heard of her? Lily
Lily,
Singh on YouTube, Superwoman,
I'm
Superwoman.
right now. I don't remember.
Uh-huh. So, but she's like a famous YouTuber, right? Lily Singh. So, I mean, who did you watch on YouTube? Or were you a YouTube fan?
Um, right now, no, I'm not having enough time to watch YouTube, but normally I just watch random stuff. Like the first thing that appears on my thing, just I just scroll and put that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like even I think like right now YouTube doesn't have really good content as much as it did have a
Yeah,
couple of years ago. Back then, like content creators on YouTube were like full on, right? They were so committed to it. They would work on scripts, and now it's just like really short videos because we're so used to the instant life right now. Like TikTok, the fact that it's less than a minute is the reason we're constantly
yeah,
scrolling. YouTube, we get really bored. Like it's I don't understand, but I mean I get bored too, so it kind of makes sense, right? But yeah, I think so. Lily Singh on YouTube is this like really positive character. She's very optimistic, and she's constantly like promoting optimism and asking people to stay motivated and happy. And that is exactly why I used to watch her as well. And that I see that optimism in me as of now because I grew up with that, right? And I think like you mentioned, music for you, watching people, certain people, in getting inspired by people is
yeah,
what has helped me a lot in like sort of picking up on that energy, right? So
yeah.
again, Andrea, like what do you think people need to do to like separate that, to draw that line between watching something and getting entertained and also like not making it part of your life?
Yeah, wow. I think that that's quite hard because I think that we as a humans wants to be in a positive side, but not like a with some a bit of drama. So
Yeah,
at the same time, we don't want to get bored, so we just watch things that can influence us to be like, as you said, like a toxic pact, like a relationship, something like that. But also, I
yeah,
think that social media help us a lot with self care because we started getting used to see people like taking care of themselves, either
exactly.
like travel, take trips alone, like people that not get used to that. And I think that that's good because they make us to feel ourselves in a different way.
Yeah, that is so true. I think like media can either break you or make you. It really depends on what you expose yourself to. Because like for me, for the most part back then, like I was so into like looking, editing myself, like editing Photoshops, filters, and looking pretty, and having the number of likes, number of comments, number of views, and all of that. And now I think is more like let's be real, let's be real.
Yeah,
And with that motto, like I started following people who are like real on Instagram, real on social media, and that really has like influenced my lifestyle so much. Well, what about you? Like, do you think like have you exposed yourself to such toxic situations like I have always been?
to be honest, I don't think so. I don't think so
Uh-huh.
because I try to don't get like in issues on in like that dramatic thing that happens to you. Like, why are you stealing? But yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I think like even with stealing for me it was mostly about the adrenaline rush, like seeing
yeah.
people steal. It's like, ooh, this sounds fun. Let's name ourselves. Okay, I'm a city, you're a city. Like pick whatever city you like. Let's go like rob a bank.
Ah, oh my
Exactly. I
god.
think that excitement has like got to me, and that is exactly why people like me who have a lot of energy suffer with like separating media from our life. But yeah, I think like overall when it comes to stealing, there are different types of stealing, right? Are there any types of stealing, Andrea, that you and I missed so far? Like, do you think there's something else that we should be talking about as well?
Oh, maybe the psychological stealing.
Yes. Hmm.
Like when you feel that someone took something for you, like not your hair or something like that, but like something important. I don't know how to explain that.
No, like the emotional manipulation
Yeah,
into like that. It's like really messed up. I think like right now people are so caught up in like being toxic and exposing themselves to things that are toxic, like stealing that energy from people, stealing that good mood, good
yeah.
vibes from a room, and just destroying it. And it's about the power that people hold, and that actually takes me to why people steal. So Andrea, like I was I heard about this thing where basically people steal to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, like I don't know, like if he's not doing something wrong to another person,
Yeah.
either I think that stealing is not something good because you are gonna get used to that at some point, and maybe you can hurt someone that you don't want to. So
Exactly, like that's the thing, people get used to it, and when you once get used to these things, it's really hard to get out of it as well. But people apparently steal to make themselves feel better, because when the situations that they're in maybe making them feel like they're out of control. So when stealing, you're in control, you are making someone else go out of control. Like, say for example, you are robbing a bank, right? Then the people working at the bank, they feel powerless when you are holding them at gunpoint and saying, give me the cash, right? And that makes you feel better because you are not in control of yourself. And if at all, what do you think people need to be doing to get more in control of their life? Do you think that people even need to be doing that?
I think that just realizing things that you can hurt someone, like if you steal, and not always think on yourself. I know that's very important to think in yourself and all that stuff, but when you are doing that for someone, like if you steal at that person that you don't know how is their life, you don't know how that person is gonna feel. So maybe you're hurting someone in a really bad thing, like as you said, like stealing your heart, like that. You don't
Yeah.
know how much hurt you are doing to that person. So just realizing things.
Exactly. Like, I think more than anything, people need to, sort of learn to respect people and just understand that, it's not fun to, be hurting people or be toxic to people. And Andrea and I will be actually continuing our conversation for the next hour. Andrea, what will we be talking about? Do you want to like give a little bit of an introduction to the people?
Oh yeah, we are gonna talk about the situation of coronavirus with the students, which is a bit like dramatic or something like that because I think that
Yeah.
everyone had different experience.
Exactly. So we will be talking about online schooling and the effects of it. And we will be back again after a short break. Stay tuned with us to see what we are going to be talking about.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of my that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do. Hopefully,
Climb Everest. No.
Mount Everest. Okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest. Maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that would improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you, if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I've been doing this for quite some time. Hey, you'll get the hang of it.
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And yeah, on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.